Hello divas, welcome back to another fierce episode of my small crochet project mini series here on my channel, Tangerines Over the Rainbow. Listen, I don't really know what I'm doing today, but I have this yarn, which is the Big Twist Living yarn in the color of Inclusivity, and it is very gay and very soft. So I'm gonna make a granny square with it and then see what I can do with said granny square because I don't know how much yarn this is gonna be in this one skein here. I did make a hat with this yarn. I don't remember how much I used, but I think it was about a skein and a half, maybe less. We'll see. But I kind of just need to feel something. So this feels like the easiest way to do it. Now listen, I have not crocheted something in a hot minute, mainly because I've been working on my sweater, but it's taking too long and it's not making me feel what I need to feel. So here I am. And I got this yarn from Joanne when they were closing down. Obviously it's a Big Twist line. So I've kind of been hoarding it until I've actually been ready to make something interesting with it. But now they apparently have it back in stock at Michael's with all of the other colors that it comes in, which is basically the colors of a lot of the pride flags. So if this doesn't look like complete shit, I would like to get some of the other yarn to make some other gay stuff. I feel like I need to make my obligatory trans flag or trans bag or hat or something like that. But I also really like the colors of the lesbian flag, and even though I myself am not a lesbian, I may make something inspired by the lesbian flag because truly y'all lesbians out there have a great color palette and I really love to see it. To be clear, this is not granny square yarn, it's just self-striping yarn, so it is by no means made for the purposes of what I'm doing, but I kind of wanted to do this as a test just to see if I did do a granny square with it, how it would turn out and if it would actually be viable to make some projects with granny squares. I really want to do another granny square tote bag, but I definitely want to make it different than the one that I did previously. So I'm trying to work these up and maybe see what that might look like. And if it looks like shit, then maybe I'll find some actual granny square yarn. I know this is a hotly contested topic, but lately I've been really into turning my granny squares between rows. I just think depending on your tension when you crochet, if it ends up warping, I don't really like the look of that. And I think if you turn your work, it's a more surefire way for that not to happen. I turned my hexagons between every row when I made my hexagon cardigan, and I was really happy with the way it laid when it was all done. So I'm just kind of taking that as note for me to continue to do that in the future. Also, this yarn suggested that I do a 4.5mm hook, which I did, but kind of don't like how it looks. I might actually redo it and go up a hook size. I think this kind of looks bad. Yeah, I'm gonna go up. Honestly, I'm gonna go up to a 5.5 because this is ugly as fuck. I worked up this square, and you know what? I kind of thought it looked like shit, but I actually don't hate it, and I think I'm gonna work it up for the rest of the colors of the rainbow and see how it goes. I really don't know why this yarn jogs. When it goes to start a new color, it goes to the new color and then it goes back to the old color and then it goes to the new color again. And I don't really know why. I don't know, whatever. Also bigger hook size, much better. Yeah, y'all, you know what? I don't think I can get behind this. I just, look at the way this is being sectioned. I love the feeling of the yarn. It's really soft for just a cheap acrylic yarn, but if I think I was gonna do this, I would rather just take the time to go and get 7 different colors of acrylic yarn to make real rainbow granny squares. So might have to do some research and see how this yarn works and maybe do something flat, maybe even knit some flat, just swatches, and maybe find a way to seam them together. But yeah, this granny square, this ain't it. Okay, slept on it. It's the next day. I think what I'm gonna try and do for this yarn is flat. I'm gonna crochet flat, try and make it striped, try and make something out of it, because I really didn't like the way the granny squares were clumping. So we're gonna make something flat. Now, I know this yarn will not stripe perfectly, so I don't think anything I make with this yarn is gonna look perfect, which is unfortunate, but I wanna make something work because it's cool and it's gay. I'm basically just gonna single crochet and double crochet flat and see what it looks like. I do think this yarn is a little bit better for knitting. When I knit my hat, the stripes were a little bit nicer, and I think also in the round because it's easier for you to kind of hide the jogs in the color. But I am determined to crochet with this. I'm already knitting sweater, so I don't want to knit something else. So let's see what we can come up with, shall we? This ain't good. So I'm crocheting flat. I hate it. This is so ugly. This does not work for me. This looks like shit. So I did some foundation stitches and I basically just measured the length of my iPad, and I was alternating 2 rows of single crochet and 1 row of double crochet, but These striations are just ugly and I don't like them. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and watch some tutorials, maybe for some like funky crochet stitches. Maybe if I do a bit more of a funky stitch, it'll like hide the areas where the color changes and it'll be more cohesive. My last resort is going to be to learn how to do amigurumi, because I have seen people use this yarn for amigurumi projects at like pride markets where they sell gay little plushies and stuff. Yeah, this ain't it. This is not it, unfortunately. Honestly, I might even just go back to making the granny squares, because even though they were like weird and sectioned, it was still, I guess, kind of cute. Very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. But we persist, and I am determined to make this yarn work. Okay, so I went back to my original plan, which was just to make a bunch of granny squares. And I think that's what I'm gonna do, because I don't hate this. I did hate it at first, but I did it this time with clusters of 3 double crochets, whereas last time I started with 2 double crochets and I just kind of thought it looked bad, but this is fine. This is fine. You know what? This is the best we're gonna get. So I'm gonna make a bunch of these. I'm gonna see how much we end up with, and then I'm gonna decide what I'm gonna do with it, okay? With the skein and a half of yarn, I ended up making 10 total granny squares, which isn't really enough to make something out of. I could use 8 of the squares to make a small square tote bag, or I could do something smaller and make like an iPad cover, but you know what? I kind of just don't want to. And I think I'm okay with the fact that I kind of don't want to. The variegation on this yarn is kind of weird. So in all honesty, I don't think I will use this yarn anymore, and I think I would only use it to make like small amigurumi project. I wanted to test this yarn to see if I could get it in other colors to make more projects with pride motifs, but honestly, I think I'll just buy separate skeins of different colors if I want to do a pride motif, because then I can actually change the color when I want to. Overall, I really like the way that this yarn feels, but I'm just really not impressed with the way it works up, and ultimately I am kind of disappointed. Both in the project that I made previously with it, and now on this endeavor just to try to make something out of it, I find this yarn is just really complicated to use and just kind of makes unnecessary stress where I could just do the color changes myself and it would look better. Ultimately, I think what I'm going to do with these granny squares is I'm going to just hang on to them, and I think over time I might be able to make like a granny square cardigan with them. Some kind of patchwork project where I can maybe accumulate scrap yarn granny squares and then put them together to make something big. We'll see how it goes. But I am at the point in my stash busting journey now where I am getting to the tail end of the scrap yarns that I actually had stored up, and I just don't really have enough scrap yarn at this point to make more granny squares and make a more cohesive project with these granny squares. So I think at this juncture, it's better to just move on and save them for a rainy day. Thank you so much for watching this video. I am so sorry that it didn't end on a more interesting note, but I will have more projects coming to you in the future, so stay tuned for those. If you are interested in using Big Twist Living Yarn, I hope that you were able to learn something from this video, or if you just came here from the vibes, I hope that you were able to catch a good vibe from this experience. I am feeling much better today than I was a week ago, so let's just be thankful for that small victory. My name is Maxine, and on this channel I talk about knitting and crocheting and being queer and anything under that sphere of existence. So if you are a queer person or a fierce ally, please subscribe to this channel because I would be happy to have you. Okay, bye!